still don't know how many rounds this tournament's going to be. So we're going to have Anneliese Faustino and Michael Haugh.
Cool.
I don't know what Michael's playing.
It's going to the back. What do you want to do with these? Because I can break this.
So Anneliese has had a lot of success recently in Modern. She's been really going off. She plays a lot of Tron decks, green-white, green-black variants.
She's known for playing Ant Storm.
Yeah, Storm in Legacy, definitely.
In Legacy. So we'll see if she's on that indeed.
Yeah, I'm gonna do.
Do we know what her opponent is playing?
No, we have no idea.
I think I played against this guy at Eternal Extravaganza. Let me access the memory bank real quick. I believe he was on Bug Leovold. Yeah. I was playing High Tide, so it didn't really... Yeah, I think it was Bug Leovold.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was like the Leovold Blade deck? Have you seen like the 4-color Deathblade variants?
It looks... Does that look blurry to you? That looks blurry to me.
Slightly.
I wonder if the camera lens is blurry. I'm going to go try to fix it.
Sure. Jameson's is going to solve some technical issue real quick. We're still getting the players situated for the next game. So the camera might have been bumped.
Oh, like on the. Okay, gotcha.
Looks a little better.
Going? All right.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure they weren't freeze. Does it look a little better?
Yep.
All right.
I think we can switch the players.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Their deck names don't get switched. I forgot about that. All right.
Yeah, I would pencil in Michael as like a Leovold deck. It just seemed like
This is how we pencil in.
Leovold question mark.
Leovold. There we go.
Not that Bug Leovold deck really narrows it down a lot, but I do believe the last time I played against him, I just comboed both games before he played anything relevant. So I didn't get a huge idea of which Leovold variant he was playing. Alright, getting Storm on camera. I like this. This is the one thing I'm very comfortable talking about is combo decks. I hope we can see her hand. With decks like these, they don't play to the board. You know, almost all of the interaction is between your hand and their hand. It's all hidden information stack interaction.
Yeah.
So if we don't get a good intel on that, then it's very hard to meaningfully question the plays. Alrighty, looks good. Did you get a glance at the pairings? Do you know for sure how many players we have or how many rounds?
I do not.
Okay. Probably in between rounds.
Keep
We'll just go ask, yeah.
I'll let you ruminate on this matchup while I...
Oh, she's playing Sneak Show.
Oh, is she?
I do remember this, yeah. So,
is it Sneak Show or Omnitel?
some Show and Tell variant. We'll say that. I think it was Sneak and Show just because she's good friends with my friend Chris Hawker, and he was mentioning that he wanted to get pieces for this deck, so I think that makes some sense.
It looks like Michael is indeed on Leovold.
Yep.
So
she got tired of casting 10 spells, and now she just wants to cast 1 spell. So.
Right, I'm going to hop out real quick. I'm going to go check how many rounds we have.
Cool. Sounds good. Skargton gets bit. Oh, this is Wes's deck. Okay. Makes sense. She's playing West Shaw's deck. The unglued lands really sell it. Alright, so this is a turn 1 Ponder. She's really just looking for a thing that puts something on the battlefield. Oh, she's going back to the 1 mountain, so that's pretty interesting.
So we have 30 players, 5 rounds.
Alright, sweet. So yeah, so it was the upper boundary of my estimate. 30 players, 5 rounds. And we'll probably play out at least some portion of the top 8 just because the prize is particularly enticing.
Common pattern is play out top 8 and then top 4 splits. That's usually pretty common. The prizes get so good at that point, and it's only one match that you have to win.
Yeah, all you got to do is just Make it slightly more juicy in the top 8 split. Plus, then you can say you top forward. Top 8 doesn't sound as impressive.
Yeah.
Alright, so she did shuffle off the ponder. Like I said, she's just looking for a put something from my hand into play piece. She has plenty of counter magic to protect herself. She has all the mana in the world. Excuse me.
Draws another force of will to
Right,
protect
the
her.
third force is pretty dumb.
She just wants the combo piece, right? That's what you said?
Yep.
That's the only thing she's missing.
She has Emrakul itself, so a show and tell or a sneak attack is pretty good.
It just says go.
She doesn't want to expose the City of Traders to Wasteland. I agree with this play. I might have wanted to play the Lotus Petal, just in case you get into counter war. You don't want to just like lose the days. That would look pretty stupid. But
yeah. So he's gonna eat a land, play a Baleful Strix, and draw.
a polluted delta. It looks like.
Yeah, it looks to be a polluted delta. Hard to see what he has in his hand. Looks like a few more lands, a couple cantrips.
Yeah, he doesn't have a whole lot of proactive action here.
So he'll crack a fetch here.
Yeah, it does look like just straight leave old mid range. I haven't seen any combo pieces of any kind in this deck for Food Chain or Allure or anything like that.
My scoreboard file. My scoreboard program crashed. Yeah, I am losing things left and right here. I'm just gonna. What?
That's very weird.
All right.
Yeah, well, life totals will be temporarily inaccurate, but
What the hell?
oh, Wes finally got Scalding Tarns. This is Wes Shaw's deck.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, she's borrowing it from him. So Wes got the Modern Master Scalding Tarns. They finally dropped low enough. He's been playing Sneak and Show for about 3 years and never had his own Scalding Tarns, but he finally obtained
so
it.
Blurry.
So.
Why is that so blurry?
I don't
It's
know,
so
is it a
terrible.
Focus issue, or I think somebody just nudged the rig.
All right, here we go. We're gonna have to reinstall this program.
Uh-oh. We're doing it live. Alright, so again, Anneliese has all the counter magic in the world. She has an Emrakul to put into play, but is just looking for a show and tell or a sneak attack. Drew the fourth force of will. Full playset in hand. She's never going to lose a counter war. Yep, yeah, these cards are just so recognizable, especially the art. That's part of why I don't like when they change art on reprints. Things like Snapcaster Mage. You see those on a stream and you just know what a Snapcaster is. Like the art, just the contour of the shape, the colors, just makes you think Snapcaster Mage. Then they reprint it with different art. People who might be on a budget or haven't been playing that long get the new art, and then all of a sudden the stream is saturated with weird-looking cards that don't look like real Magic cards.
Apparently, my administrator privileges have been revoked.
Uh-oh. I think you're the only one on this computer. This is very weird. Unfortunately, I'm pretty techno-illiterate, so I can't really help you out.
Well, I'm not, but I have no idea what the hell this is. It says administrator. What the hell?
Just try Control Alt Delete, end the process, and then fire it again.
Actually, Control Shift Escape.
When do they change it?
Control Delete does as a Control Delete function. Control Shift Escape launches the task manager.
Just straight to the
which
task
is
manager.
Yeah, which is what you want.
Yeah.
It's not here.
Let's close it. See, I know that's OBS.
That's OBS. We're not going to close OBS. Yeah, just go ahead and watch the match and see if I can fix this.
I'm trying to figure it out. So this is pretty interesting. He has a Badlands in his deck, which makes me think it's probably the
Czech Pile deck.
Yeah. He does seem more on the like Leavold mid-range side. I haven't seen Snapcasters or anything like that, so it might just be a couple Colorgon's commands or sideboard cards.
Could be.
Anneliese is being very patient as she draws many, many Force of Wills. Belfast Strix comes in again. She's probably close to 10 at this point. I haven't been keeping track exactly, but... She has Omniscience in her hand now, too. How close are you? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Not quite. Yeah, she'd like kill for a brainstorm right here. Being patient with the Scalding Tarn will pay off if she does draw one. So that gives her a chance to get rid of some of these crappy cards in her hand.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, show and tell. Yay! I drew a card. So we're probably going to see a fight over this, but it's one that she will definitely win. While she's packing 4 copies of Force Will. Alright, so here's Hard Counterspell. 7th edition.
Mm-hmm.
So she just wants to decide how she's going to fight. So the Spell Pierce is not going to be super relevant. So I imagine that we just start casting forces. You can cast 3 before it's a problem. Interesting.
I can't even delete it. I can't even delete that file because it's telling me I need administrator permission. It says you'll need administrator permission to do this, and I said okay, continue, and then it said you need permission from the computer's administrator to do this. I have that. I am one.
My computer. If you right click and run as administrator, does that help?
Nope. Because then it just says it can't find the file.
Alright, so the Pierce resolves. She, Michael pays for the Pierce, so now she's going to Force Pitch Force. Force Pitch Jace. I assume we see Force Pitch Force again. She wants to keep the... I think the reason she cast the Spell Pierce instead of pitching it was just because she wants to keep the Omniscience in hand to go Omni Emrakul. Somebody said a program probably still has the file open.
No, the file is the program. And the program's not running.
Another Force, wow. So she had quad Force Spell Pierce and it wasn't good enough to force through this show and tell. Holy hell. Her opponent had Counterspell double Force.
Wow.
See, so I guess it wouldn't have mattered either way. The Spell Pierce just seemed like a waste. She wanted to keep the Omniscience in her hand, so she didn't pitch the Spell Pierce to Force. She pitched Force to Force, which meant she had one less Force to actually cast. Yep, game over. Holy hell. Yeah, exactly. So Spell Pierce has just lost so much value over the course of the game. Putting in just the Emrakul on its own is probably good enough there. So, I don't think you need the Omniscience. The Omniscience kind of sets you up. It's a trap. It makes you think that it's an important piece of the combo, but really, Emrakul is good enough 90% of the time anyway.
Hey, we did it. All right, just reinstall the program. Re-downloaded it. Reinstalled it. It's got to bring up our stuff. So that's game over already? Yep. All right.
So Michael was victorious. Anneliese kind of picked her battles a little bit poorly, I think, with the counter magic. Yeah, so there's kind of merits to both sides. Yeah, the Spell Pierce doesn't... Actually, casting the Pierce doesn't make any sense. I would have probably led with Force Pitch Force. Then when my opponent counters that, then I go Force Pitch Pierce, and I still have Force Omniscience in hand. Lesson learned.
You gotta be kidding me. You've gotta be kidding me.
Did it crash again?
This is the brand new file. It's having the same error. Do I have a virus or some shit? This is just straight up pissing me off.
That would be a pain.
Watch, I can't delete it.
Yeah, it's true. Jace not having the omniscience means that Jace isn't out, and also like Liliana, which could be something that was on her radar, having seen Death Rights and Friends. Sideboarding with combo decks is sometimes rough. You can't go down too far on combo pieces. She's boarding out the basic because she didn't see Wasteland in game 1. So she would have had exactly enough blue cards to pitch had she kept the Pierce instead of casting it. Because she can pitch first Pierce, then Omni. Instead she went Force Pitch Force, Force Pitch Force. If the first force pitches Pierce, then the second force pitches Force, then you still have a third force that can pitch Omniscience. But hey, I mean, you don't play this game assuming that your opponent is going to have triple Force of Will at all times. Yeah, she would have had to pitch Omni, but then her opponent has to pitch the Jace, so she doesn't get screwed. She just puts the Emrakul into play directly, and it's probably good enough, given that your opponent just wasted his whole hand. I mean, even if it doesn't win the game on its own, it like attacks Annihilator 6. Your opponent keeps Baleful Strix and then trades it off. Then they have no permanence, and you have all your lands in play. So her opponent just paid for the Pierce. So the Spell Pierce was effectively just worthless. It didn't do anything except tap 2 of her opponent's mana. And her opponent could still have cast a second counterspell in his hand if he tapped his Death Rights. There were 2 lands in his yard. So he had 4 lands, 2 Death Rights. Oh, but I guess one of the lands was a Badlands. But so he just pays for the Pierce. So yeah, I just don't like casting the Pierce at all there. Crossing our fingers. We're gonna try to get the stream updated for you guys. Having some technical difficulties.
Significant. I've never seen this happen before.
Alright, are we live?
Not yet. Oh, not there, you dummy. Okay.
Alright.
Are we in game 3?
Cross your fingers. Nope, this is still game 2.
Okay.
They were just shuffling a lot, so we didn't miss a whole lot. We just had a lengthy discussion about sequencing counter spells. This is why Legacy is sweet. I mean, you have a lot of free interaction, but the way you cast them is important. Like, Force of Will is not just a fire and forget card. Like, she had a hand that was quad Force of Will Spell Pierce, and she lost a counter war. So, like, that just shows that, like, there's more skill involved than
Yeah.
we might think. We're over 100 viewers. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. If you're just tuning in now, this is the Legacy 1K being streamed from MTGFirst Game Center. I'm Brian Marks. I'm here with Jameson Helfrich. We're streaming from Skyship Gaming. And this is game 2 of Sneak Show versus Bug Leovold and Friends. So it might be the 4-color deck. We did see a single Badlands, but I didn't see anything while he was fanning through his deck that made me think it was like the actual Czech Pile Snapcaster deck. So.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly no lightning bolts. You know what I think would be a cool splash? Chandra Tortured Defiance. It's essentially a Jace that can't get blasted.
Yeah, that one has started seeing play in some sideboards, and Okori was playing it like in Lagerloam sideboard. And
the card is a house. I mean, it's obviously not Jace, but it's close.
Welcome to the crew, Jesse Hunt. Thanks for the follow.
All right, turn 2 Leovold. Do we fight over this?
You don't want it on the table, do you?
Well, her hand has a lot of cards that don't care. She has Cunning Wish and Intuition, neither of which... Oh, they do care, because it lets your opponent draw cards.
Yeah.
Intuition targets the player. It's a sort of old wording. You choose target opponent, and then they make the split. When you make your Intuition pile, they choose which one you get. So by targeting the opponent, that means Leovold gets a piece of the pie. See if our opponent knows that is how it works.
Oh, because it targets...
Yeah. So were this a competitive event, I would say cast Intuition, look at your opponent, see what they say. Just because, not everybody knows that Intuition targets, and it's on them to remember their Leovold trigger. However, given this is regular, it seems like in the spirit of good sportsmanship, I would just say, like, Intuition target you.
Yeah.
But, here's 3 show and tells. Please give me one. So Intuition's default mode is probably just Demonic Tutor, right? You just pick 3 of the same card, they're forced to give you 1, and then you just pay the 3 mana instant speed Demonic. But I find the most interesting Intuitions are where you pick 3 different cards, and now they have to check. Sometimes, I don't have enough Time Spirals left in my deck to Intuition for triple Spiral, so I have to get, Brainstorm, Merchant Scroll, Cunning Wish. Which one do you think is more important here? Then they give you Brainstorm, thinking it's the weakest, but they're wrong. Brainstorm is the best, and then you put 2 lands back and win the game. Which one to give? Yeah, it's a very tough decision. I usually look at condition. If they have different printings of them, I give them the ugliest one.
Rude.
So here's a fight. So our opponent has tons of mana open, so Flusterstorm is not at its best. You probably have to lead with Force here.
Oh, he's not 19. How many fetches is he correct?
It's like 2.
2?
Yep.
Yeah.
You can peek his face out like that. That's kind of funny.
She cracked any? She's
Right,
cracked
so
1.
Force Hitch Force. That's another. So both of them have lost an additional life from Force of Will, and then Show and Tell appears to be resolving. Hey, it's Emrakul.
Oh, I marked her fetch, so she's a 15 because she had a fetch, force, and then Leovold hit. That's 5.
Yep.
And he had fetch, force.
Ooh, this is going to be real bad. Diabolic Edict, and then she has exactly
my.
Fluster. Welcome to the crew, Pill. Thank you.
So this is where, Diabolic Edict is your trump card here, and I think you need to be aware of the fact that Flusterstorm is a card.
Yeah, well, so he's playing around Spell Pierce because that's what he saw in Game 1. Usually decks will play either Pierce or Fluster, at least in the main deck. So he probably just didn't have Flusterstorm on his radar, and now he's getting punished.
Oh, he definitely didn't have Flusterstorm on his radar.
Yeah.
If he had it on his radar, he wouldn't have cast it here instead.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, and here's my Blast. That doesn't do a whole lot of anything. I think that other card in his hand is a Snapcaster Mage, so...
Oh, yeah, he's got a Snapcaster in hand. He's fine. Yeah, Flusterstorm happens. That's fine.
Bummer. Yeah, so
Okay.
Snapcaster's just going to flashback that Edict on his turn. Anneliese is handless, so there's nothing that can stop it.
The only trouble is that by snapping it back, he's also vulnerable to Spell Pierce, and I think he's concerned about that.
Well, she has no cards in hand, so he's... coast is clear.
He might still be concerned about it. I don't know.
Look at my graveyard. Which one do you want to eat? Ouch. See, that's a situation where she would have wanted Omniscience. Diabolic Edict is a card that has seen a lot more play recently. It was big when I first got into Legacy to fight Progenitus Natural Order decks, and then it kind of fell out of favor, but now it's coming back because it's good against Merit Lage, it's good against the Eldrazi deck. It doesn't target, so it hits like smashers without making you discard. She's like, yeah, of course, Snapcaster, fine. Exactly what you had. Well, at least you can't touch my graveyard anymore. It's back in the deck. So leave old hit. So she essentially has 2 draw steps, right? Next turn she's taking 5, 6, 7. Yeah. So if her draw steps are back to back, like cheat spell, Grizzlebrand, maybe you're fine.
Yeah.
No, she still loses death right in that case. Has to be like sneak attack Grizzlebrand back to back.
Yeah.
Also assuming
you could throw in a cantrip as well. She could draw a Ponder or a Brainstorm.
Yep.
So she could dig a little deeper. It doesn't have to come off the top. Doesn't appear like she drew it.
Good. Oh, and yeah, Michael does have the Hydroblast in hand, so.
Oh yeah,
Sneak
Sneak
Attack
Attack's
is not
just
even
dead.
good.
Brainstorm.
Yep. Oh yeah, so the cantrip wasn't even live because the Leovold. Forgot that card had text.
You're right.
Yeah, so it had to be actually like show and tell Grizzlebrand back to back. Ah, that was savage. So game 1 was just a loss due to missequencing. This game, I just think she could not win. The Snapcaster Edict means that all of her creature lines are just bad. Her opponent had counter magic, so it's fine. If she had Omniscience, then she casts Emrakul, but then it just gets edicted. Anyway, you get 1 turn with it.
131 viewers. All right, doing great today. Thank you guys for tuning in. If this is your first time tuning into Skyship Gaming, it probably is, considering we've topped out at 30 at our most before this broadcast. We're a relatively new streaming service. We love to stream all kinds of trading card games. I love Magic the Gathering Legacy, so we do a lot of that. I'm trying to do that weekly now. I'm trying to do from MTGFirst.
Awesome.
We also do larger events on the weekends like this one. I also stream Force of Will, the card game Force of Will. And I'm pretty much open to streaming whatever, but those
Pokemon
are the 2 main
TCG,
ones.
man. That's the move of the future.
So thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to give us a follow if you enjoy our content. You want to see more stuff in the future, because lots of bright things ahead for us. So.
The magic tricks come when you have quadruple Force of Will and still lose. That's a sleight of hand feat.
All right, so I'm gonna go. Actually, I'm probably just gonna go try to tinker with his camera a little bit. So I'm gonna do that. See if we can find a backup match. And I'll
Put
be
a
right back.
starting soon up for now.
I can do intermission.
Okay, cool. All right, we will be.